I saw this video years ago, and it was about flamingos, and when they give birth, and actually, I don't even know, do they I don't even know how flamingos have babies. Anyway, when they have babies, they lose their pink coloring, and I think they turn white. And it takes, I think it can take them years to get their pink back.
It's like a visual representation of them losing almost everything that they have in them.
Yeah.
And it's all
to
going
give to
their
their
babies.
Yeah. There's this whole topic now, just as moms in general, of losing your pink when you have kids, because it's so easy to be able to give everything to them and kind of forget, not who you are, but forget to put yourself first, because you're obviously raising your babies and their priority.
I wish we had poppies. I should have brought poppies.
I know. Okay, can I tell you something? I've never had a poppy before. I know.
I know. Virginity.
I almost got some because I know you love them, but I've never had one before. I don't drink anything.
We need to redo this.
I know.
And we need to have poppies.
I'm gonna have to do it again, and I'll bring some poppies.
Well, welcome to the Heart to Heart podcast, Tyler.
Thank
welcome
you.
back. If you're new here, I'm Abby. I'm your host, and this is my friend Tyler. And today we're just gonna have a little chat about motherhood.
Yeah. We could talk for hours about.
I'm sure everybody that watches is going to know who you are. But if you want to give a brief little I don't know what you would say, description of who you are.
My name is Tyler. I'm a mom of 3 boys, so forever a boy mom. I live in Southlands Falls, and I do photography. So I do mostly motherhood, maternity, and newborn.
Which you slay at, by the way.
Thank you. And I also co-own this studio that we're in. So we rent it out to other photographers and kind of use it as a content space. So yeah.
Content oasis, if you will.
Yeah. Yeah. On the comfy couch.
When I was thinking about people to have on, I'm you would be the person that I would want to talk to about just motherhood, because I feel 3 boys, you probably have some stuff to talk about, you know? Just
yeah.
A mother of 3 in general is a lot.
Yeah.
And I feel even if you have 1, you probably get the struggles of it. But,
yeah.
I don't know. When you do it time and time again, I feel sometimes you get better at it as time goes on.
Yeah.
Or maybe not. We'll figure that out as we go on. But, I don't know. I was just I need to talk about motherhood with you, because I feel and also it's just a lot. It's a lot of what you do too. You take photos of a lot of people that, are mothers or are pregnant. That's just kind of your brand.
My entire life is just based on motherhood. Whether it's
you
at
wear
home
it
or...
you wear it so well.
Thank you.
You know?
Thanks.
But, so you have 3 boys.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, how is motherhood going for you right now?
At this current moment with 3, I have to say it's probably... I don't think I've ever struggled more with motherhood than right now. We had our 3rd in July, so he's 8 months old now. And I think when he was first born and when I first came back to work, the main question I got from my clients and friends and everyone was, how is it with 3? How's that transition to 3? A lot of moms were saying they were on the fence about having a 3rd and wanted my honest opinion. And in the beginning, I honestly said to everyone, I feel like it's easier the more kids you have. And I would always say, I know that sounds crazy. I know that sounds crazy to say, but in the beginning, I really felt like it was a walk in the park. I felt like we had our rhythm. We were used to the chaos, especially with having boys, that we kind of just added on to the chaos. And so I feel in the beginning, I really felt like this was the easiest transition, 0 to 3. Now at this current moment, I don't know if it's because he's older and we just have more going on, I feel like it was the hardest for me.
It ebbs and flows.
It does. It 100% does.
But I feel like I felt the same way when Luna first came home. Mm-hmm. And when I was first adjusting to having 2, I was honestly, this is kind of easier than I thought.
Yeah.
Hard in ways, but easier than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
And then it I don't know, it just for me, it's very like ebbs and flows. Like it's always like been really hard, and then it gets easier, and then it's like kind of harder, and it's like you kind of just have to like, I'm like
ride the
moving
wave.
my body.
Literally ride the wave. Yeah, I think it was easy. We had him in the summer, and my husband's a teacher, so he was off all summer, which I think made a huge difference. I had that help for a couple of months, and our boys were home, so I didn't have to worry about rushing them to school and practice and all of that. And then I was obviously off from work. So I think it was kind of the perfect just mix of everything, like the timing wise.
Yeah.
That I felt like it was really easy. We had nothing to do. And
besides bond and hang out and just...
And my calendar usually looks like a hot mess. So to be able to have a blank calendar for 2 months was honestly amazing. And then once fall came, I think just us getting back into the routine and me getting back into work and him getting back into work and our boys going back to school, it was definitely a harder transition. I also think it totally depends on your kid too.
Yeah.
I think it just depends on each baby and how your kids adjust to another baby, and it just...
Sonny was so rough.
He really?
He was so rough. We're still working on it, but he's just...
How old is he right now?
He's like 2.5.
Okay, so I feel like he's at that age where they don't really know their
They don't
strength,
get it.
and they don't know to be gentle. It's hard.
And he's like a boy.
Yeah.
Like he's just a brew,
Yeah.
and he wants to just rustle and tackle everything. So like it's been an adjustment getting him to be like more gentle.
Yeah.
And like know that like he even still to this day tries to like pick her up and stuff, and I'm like, no, like you can't
do that. You're two.
Yeah. So
Yeah, our middle is like that a little bit. He definitely doesn't know what personal space is or that you need to be gentle.
yeah.
So yeah, I think it's a lot of different factors, and it does ebb and flow for sure.
So take me back to tell me about the transition between having none and going to one and then 2 and then 3. Like, what was that like for you?
0 to 1 was rough too. I think I think 1 to 2 was the easiest for us. I got pregnant young. I was 20. I got pregnant at 21 and I had him at 22.
Okay.
And my husband and I joke all the time too. Like, I don't know what, because he was planned, but I don't know what possessed us to feel like we were in the correct spot in our life to have a kid. We were living in his aunt's basement. I had just started my first business. He had a ton of student loan debt, and we just had no idea what we were doing. We were like, you know what? I think we should have a kid.
We should totally throw a baby into this.
Have a baby, 100%. So yeah, it was definitely tough. We had no idea what we were doing, which I feel like is, I think that's what everyone says. For like, they just go in blind.
You're just never ready.
Yeah, we definitely didn't know what we were doing. So it was a lot of trial and error and just kind of figuring it out as we went. I did feel like it was hard. I don't even remember this looking back, but my husband says to me that he would go to work and I would be sitting in bed with Lane, and he would come home from work at the end of the day and I would still be sitting in bed with Lane. And I didn't even realize it at the time, because I don't think I knew like what was normal and what wasn't, but I think I definitely struggled in the beginning. Just becoming a parent. There's just so much to learn. And
I feel like for me it was the sleep deprivation.
Yes.
I like was not equipped to handle that. Like I don't think anyone ever told me. I was not aware that like you didn't sleep. I just don't think I thought about it. No one ever told me. I had no idea.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, I specifically remember being in the hospital and one of the nurses was like, okay, so every 2 hours. I'm like throughout the night. Like we're doing this throughout the night.
Yeah, I really have to get up every 2 hours.
I was like, oh.
Yeah.
Great.
I was hearing like literal voices in my head. I was so sleep deprived at points. And we would try to take turns, but I still think as a mom, you don't.
You can't shut your brain off.
If he like moved a finger, I would wake up.
Yeah.
So I think that I never, he wasn't a good sleeper either. So I don't think I got a solid night of sleep until he was like a year and a half. Yeah,
that was the roughest part for me, going from 0 to 1. I was like, what is going on?
You really realize how little sleep you need to actually like function throughout the day though.
Yeah.
Because you just get it done. You just have to, you have this little human.
Yeah, you really do.
Gotta do it. Can't take any more naps.
Yeah, I remember walking around like a zombie too, and just
Yeah.
like, it is crazy when I think back, and even now I'm like, how am I doing this? But you just kind of like autopilot,
Yeah.
and you just kind of do what you got to do and get it done.
Mm-hmm.
So 1 to 2 was easier. The easiest
I
of
think
the
it
3.
was. For me, I think it was. We actually had him in the middle of the pandemic. It was like the height of the pandemic. So no one could see us in the hospital, and we didn't have anyone visit us at home. And I know this might sound bad, but I think
No, it was amazing.
it was amazing. Because I didn't have to give people excuses of why we didn't want them to come over. I didn't have to be that person that's like, don't come until he's 2 weeks old. We kind of just had our own little bubble, and it was really nice.
Which, that I feel like the second time around, we had less visitors, and it was definitely nice, which is kind of sad to like feel like you have to set boundaries like that. Like, I feel like people should just get it, especially people who have kids should just get it. But
it's not always the case though.
No.
Yeah, it was nice. It was nice to be able to just kind of transition to the 4 of us.
Yeah.
Without any having to worry about people in and out, and not that we didn't want to see people. It was obviously
I've heard
hard.
from a couple other people that then 2 to 3 was the hardest. Like, just a lot of bodies. You're outnumbered at this point.
And that's what it is. I always wanted 3. And when my husband and I would talk about it, he would say, okay, but we will be outnumbered. And he would always bring up a situation. Like, what if Lane has a game here, and then Wes has a game here, and then the third, like, how do we divide and conquer? How are we going to do that? And I always just said, we'll figure it out. We'll do it.
Yeah.
We'll find a way.
Wait, I love that he was like, but like, let's like think about the future. Like, this is how it might go.
He's rational.
Are you not the rational one?
No, I mean, a little, but definitely not. He's like the voice of reason. And I just am like, yeah, but it sounds good. Let's do it. It sounds fun. Let's try it out. Not with kids, but I'm definitely more impulsive, just in everything. But he kind of makes me sit down and think about things. But I think for me at least it was the hardest. And I think just what I struggle with the most is balancing my time and energy with the 3 of them. I think it's hard. It's hard. They're all at different ages. They all need different things. And I think it's hard to just feel like I'm giving them each the amount of attention that they need.
Yeah, I struggle with that a lot. And I feel like my oldest, Sunny, is just kind of like so desperate for that attention. And obviously, like, the baby kind of takes a lot of attention because she's a little bit more work. Like, she's not as self-sufficient, obviously. She needs to be held. She needs to be put on the boob, and he will like be right there next to me. Like, and you do, like, you feel guilty that like you can't. It's crazy because like you feel like you're giving all of you, but it's like it's never enough. You know?
It's so true. It's never. I said to my mom the other day, I was like, I'm one person, and I have to try to divide myself among my 3 children on top of being a wife and a business owner and just taking care of myself mentally. So, it's definitely a lot.
And then your husband.
Yeah.
Can't forget about him.
So it's hard. It's
so hard.
It's hard to kind of balance.
And it's almost
everything.
like one is always lacking.
100, yeah.
One or more is always lacking.
Yeah.
Like, you're never gonna. Yeah, I feel like my kids are great, and then my husband's like, what about me, dude? Like, hello?
Yep.
You know? And then it's like, even with the house, and like right now, I feel like I'm trying to be okay with kind of taking a step back from work a little bit because, like with my business specifically, I am trying to tell myself like it's okay if I'm not 100% like go with my business right now, because like these 2 little ones need me, and like that's okay. You know? And that's hard because like I want to be like, I'm very driven and I like want to be go all the time, but it's like forcing me to try to slow down. and it's hard. Like,
I'm in that same like phase right now. Before I went on my maternity leave, I was so burnt out and I was just overworking myself, I think, just to try to get as much done as I could before I was on leave. And I told myself I will not do that again. And I can't do that again now that I have 3. So coming back, I cut my schedule like in half.
yeah.
And it's hard. It's hard.
It's hard because you know, like, the potential of what you could be doing, could be achieving. And that, you know, we all want to be successful, obviously.
Yeah.
And, like, we both are the type of people that are very driven and want to be successful, like, in our businesses. And it is hard to be like, okay, but not right now. We're, like, kind of going to hit the pause button a little bit and
slow down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have to remind myself too, I'm like, just because I'm like slowing down right now doesn't mean like it's going to be any less good. Like my business isn't going to be any less good like in the future. Like it's just a little bit slower right now. And I'm fine with that. You know?
I think that's sometimes what's best anyway, because I think if you try to go full force on top of trying to balance everything else, you're not, at least for me, I wouldn't be able to give everything. I mean, I'm definitely not taking on as much as I did before, but I feel like I can at least really put my effort into what I am.
Yeah.
What I am taking on.
Yeah, I agree.
But it's, yeah. And I think as a business owner, you're always kind of in the back of your head.
You want to be doing more and more and more. And like, you just constantly want to be growing. So it is hard to take that step back and be like, okay, you know what? I can be broke for a few years to just like, I was talking to one of my other friends and she was telling me about just when she had her kids. It was a while ago, but when she first had her kids and her husband was working like 3 jobs or something so she could like be home with the kids and whatever. And she was like, it's okay. Like, I guess I'm going to be fine being broke right now. Like, it is what it is. Like, I got to raise these little kids. And it's really sad because I mean, I've kind of always known this, but it just popped up recently, like a reminder that our country doesn't do like a proper maternity leave.
It's crazy.
Like,
a lot of
it depends on your employer, but like,
a lot of countries do
nothing.
Like a year of maternity leave. And then when you work for yourself, I had a conversation with someone about this recently. It's hard because even when I was on maternity leave over the summer, I felt like I was always in the back of my head thinking like, I'm not making any money right now. I'm not going to go work right now, but that I feel like is a whole other layer to maternity leave is when you're working for yourself.
That makes me really sick because
it's terrible.
Like how, I just don't even understand how, and I know nothing about politics or anything, and I don't even want to get into that, but like, I don't know how the government works, but like, why don't we have a fucking maternity leave? Crazy.
No,
that just like really grinds my gears. Like we are trying to raise little humans to like add to fucking society.
What's a more important job than that?
I can't name one.
No. It's honestly crazy. It's
crazy. It's scary.
It is. It is.
Yeah, I don't know. I was thinking about that the other day and I was like, when I saw something, it came up somewhere and I was like, oh my God, like, yeah, that's insane. And how do you, like I said, I know nothing about the government, but like, how do you change that? Like, can we change that?
Yeah.
What do you do? Can we change it?
I have no idea.
Who do we email?
Who do we message for this? No, it's honestly crazy that it feels like you have a child and within, I mean, honestly, the blink of an eye, you are expected to go back to work.
I mean, I remember with Sunny, I was home for like 3 months. This time I got to stay home for 6 months, like with her. And like now I'm starting to get back like into it.
Yeah.
But some people don't even get 3 months. Some people get like weeks. Some people don't get any time.
Yeah.
It's wild.
It's absolutely,
so
if you really
sad.
think about it, it's insane. You created a human.
And even in 6 months, I don't even feel like I've done the full amount of bonding that I would want to before I like go back to work. You know?
It's natural for them to want their mom when they're that little. Like I don't know, just the thought. I mean, I do feel grateful that I get to choose my schedule and how flexible I can be, but just the idea of like handing them off to someone weeks after having them is mind blowing.
I know. And it gives me like, I mean, I love our babysitter to death, but it also just like makes me sad knowing that like I'm saying she because she's like my youngest little baby right now, but like just like that I can't spend all the time in the world with them and like raise them and like because like when they're with somebody all day, like they're learning a lot from like who they're around, you know, and it just kind of it's a little sore spot for me.
I know, because no one knows them like we do. No one knows like exactly how they like to be
held and kissed.
I know. I know.
For real.
It's crazy though.
So I want to go back to like just feeling like we put in all of this effort and it's just all of it's not enough sometimes.
Yeah.
Like you can never give enough of yourself. I know that I like hold very high expectations for myself for like my household, like taking care of the kids, taking care of like just everything. And I will like, I think subconsciously beat myself up over it. And then I don't realize until I'm like sitting there miserable, like, oh my God, I have like all of these high ass expectations for myself to achieve all of these things. Like even in one day, I'm like, I want to do the laundry today. I want to do the dishes. I want to take care of my kids. I want to take an everything shower. I want to, my husband, you know, like I want to do all these things, but like, it's just, I don't know. I'm trying to not have all of these expectations because obviously it's impossible to do all of that stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, is there like, I want to do more research on it because I feel like, is it like an expectation thing or is there something that I can be doing that to help slow myself down and be like, listen, you don't have to like do the laundry, do all like, I need to like have a practice that I do.
Something I do, and I'm not even for 5 seconds going to pretend that I know my shit because I really don't, but something that has helped me is I'll make a list of everything that I need to get done. And I break it down.
I love lists.
And it's so funny because not that I get made fun of for it, but I am such a paper and pen person that I literally like I need a notepad and I need a pen and I need to write things down. Like I'm a big list person. I make a list of everything that I need to get done and I break it down by like what I actually need to get done and
what's the most
actually
important?
Realistic. Yeah.
Okay.
So if it's like
you're prioritizing things and then you're like, if this doesn't get done today, that's okay.
Yes. And I think that obviously like my kids always come first. I think that's just how it is. Like if it's anything that's to do with them, I usually always have that at the top. But if it's the laundry and the dishes and my list of everything I need to get done, I try to just break it up by what is actually realistic that I can get done today. Lately, I feel like I have to break it down to just a few things a day. And if I get that done, then I at least feel like I accomplished something.
Yeah. And you can do a little pat on the back. And be like, good job.
Exactly.
You did that.
And then, you know what? Tomorrow's a new day. And I can, whatever I feel like I can get done that day, I can get done.
That's really smart.
So whether it's like breaking it up literally by like, okay, from 9 to 11, I'll try to get this done. And if I can get that done, I have extra time, maybe I'll try to go get something else done. If not, I'll sit on the couch and watch a show. Like I really,
that's amazing.
I'm just trying to be realistic lately about what I can actually get done because I'm the same way. I make a list of 30 things and then at the end of the day, like 2 things are crossed off and I feel like I didn't do anything.
You're like, shit.
Yeah. Yeah. So breaking it down for me has helped a little bit. Like, do I really have to get this done today? Can it?
I need to lower my expectations.
I have because lately, it's a lot.
Yeah. About the list thing, this kind of like reminded me of just something that I'm struggling with right now is like ADHD, like crazy. Like, and I've been making lists and that's kind of like helping.
Yep.
But I've read that ADHD can come on after you've had kids. Like it's very common for it to come on in women after they have children. And just because I think you have so much going on all the time that you're like, like I feel like my brain's
Never stops.
never stops.
Yeah.
But the list thing has been helping me to kind of like I more make like a very long ass list,
like a brain dump.
Yeah,
I love brain dumps.
but then I still feel like shit because like you said like when you only cross like one thing off, you're like, well shit, I only did one thing out of these 25 things.
Yeah.
But the list thing has been helping me kind of just get all my thoughts out. And just like if it's on the paper, I feel a little bit better.
I love a brain dump. I have to do that. My husband rolled over in bed a couple mornings ago, and I was on my notes app on my phone, like furiously writing things down. He's like, it's 6:30 in the morning on a Sunday. What are you doing? And I'm like, I just had these thoughts. I need to get them down. I need to write it down. But I think brain dumping and then literally going through and being like, okay, let's try to get these few things done today. And then maybe, you know, what can get done at the end of the week? Or what can we maybe do this weekend it just helps. Because staring at a long list, it can be, it's good daunting to get it out, but then when you're staring at that during the day, it's like, oh my God, I have to get all of this done. And you never do.
Yeah, no. And I freeze. Like I will look at it and be like, I just can't do anything because this is too overwhelming. Like,
and then I give up and I go sit and watch a reality show. That's always how it goes if I don't break it down.
So when we were talking about topics to talk about, one of them, you had said that I was like, wait, what is that? So will you say it? Because I don't want to screw it up.
Yeah. So I mentioned talking about losing your pink and finding your pink again. I saw this.
Explain it for the ones who don't know. Yeah. I was like, wait, what?
I saw this video years ago, and it was about flamingos. And when they give birth, and actually, I don't even know. Do they like lay? I don't even know how flamingos have babies. Anyway, when they have babies, they lose their pink coloring, and I think they turn white. And it takes, I think it can take them years to get their pink back. And the whole theory behind it is that they lose their pink because they're giving so much to their babies that they lose that coloring in them.
It's like a visual representation of them losing almost everything that they have in them.
Yeah.
And it's all
to
going
give
into
to
their
their
babies.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's this whole topic now, just as moms in general, of losing your pink when you have kids, because it's so easy to be able to give everything to them and kind of forget, you know, not who you are, but forget to put yourself first, because you're obviously raising your babies and their priority. And then the whole concept of finding that again, whether it takes months or years or whatever those steps are to be able to get your pink back.
It's definitely hard because when I had Sunny, I remember not even like realizing that I didn't feel like myself until I like started sleeping more, stopped breastfeeding. And then one day I think I woke up and I was like, holy shit, I like feel like myself again.
Yeah.
Like you woke up and I was like, I'm back, baby.
Yep. And you didn't even realize.
I didn't even realize I was gone, you know?
Yep.
Which is so scary, like to think about. Just like not, I like genuinely, it was just like I woke up one day and I was like, we're here again.
Yeah,
like,
this is
back.
me. Yeah. I think that's so common though. I think you just become so wrapped up in taking care of other people that it's really easy to not, I don't know.
And everything that's happening like chemically in your body.
Yeah.
Like your brain chemistry is literally different. Like your hormones
that
are going
hormone
crazy.
Drop. They say after you give birth, I think it's the biggest drop in hormones that you'll ever experience. And it's I mean, everything
insane.
Everything's changing.
So how has that been like with 3? Like, how is that for you now?
I definitely haven't found my pink again.
Yeah.
I think for every kid I've, you know, lost it a little bit in some way here and there, but I think I'm finally at this point like starting to try to find ways to like get it back again. I
almost more like aware of like, okay, like we need to like spend time on ourselves.
Yeah.
Like even if it's hard and you only have like 5 minutes.
Yeah. I have a really hard time asking for help.
Me too.
Yeah. It's rough. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's just like the people pleaser in me, or like I don't want to like show like myself being vulnerable. I don't know what it is. But I have a really hard time asking people for help. And I think that because of that, it's easy for me to just kind of put the load of everything on me. So I think
I'm too stubborn to ask.
I'm also really stubborn as well. Yeah. I think it's a mix of things. I mean,
for me, it's almost like, I think it's a little bit of a mix of what you had said too. But for me, especially with my husband, I'm kind of like in my head, like, shouldn't you be doing this? Shouldn't you know? I shouldn't have to ask you. But like, you know.
Yeah. My son, our youngest, is going through a phase where he truly just wants me. He doesn't want anyone else to hold him. He doesn't want anyone else to look at him. He literally just wants me.
Like, just give me mom and
that's
the boob,
it.
And like that's all I want.
That's it. And my husband tries to help, but it's hard. I mean, it
is hard.
Depending on like the season of life you're in and the season of like parenthood you're in, it's
the same exact thing is happening with Sonny now, and I think it's because he's lacking a little bit of that attention from me.
Yep.
So he only wants me.
Yep.
And you know,
and it's hard.
Yeah. And I feel bad for Gino when he tries to help because it's like, no, I want mommy, and he's like mean about it. You know, like, damn, Gino, I'm sorry, but like,
Ty went up the other night. Bo was fussy, and he went up there to try to just give me a break for a second, and Bo stared at the door until I came up. He just screamed harder. He would kind of look around and then realize that he was holding him and that it wasn't me, and he would scream harder and then look at the door and wait. And I feel bad, and it can be exhausting too. And then also part of me loves it because I'm like, oh my God, he wants me. Like, I love it.
It's a weird like love-hate. You're like, fuck.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you're like, they're so sweet.
You're like touched out, but you're also like, oh my God, I love it. So it's it's, I don't know. I think at this point I'm just starting to realize that I would like to find that pink again. I'm like, it's, I don't know, it's necessary.
I think I'm like somewhere in the middle of where like, I think the second time, for me at least, like I've realized, okay, it is important to like make time for myself. So, you know, whether that's going to an hour yoga class or even just like stretching for 10 minutes by myself in the morning or like whatever it is, whatever I have time for, I know that that's important and I have to do those things, or I am just going to be like a walking zombie and just like a slave to my children, you know? So I've been, this time I'm like somewhere in between of like, I definitely don't think I'm like all the way back yet. I'm definitely like in that autopilot zone. Yeah. But I'm at least trying to do the things that I know.
You're aware. Yeah.
And no, that's like the best. That's all you can do is just be aware and just try.
Baby steps, because we're not going to get there overnight. It's not.
Yeah.
It definitely
takes like being gentle with yourself too, and just knowing like I am so hard on myself, like expectations, all of it. Just I'm hard on myself all around. So I feel like just giving yourself that love every single day, like you're doing the best you can, like those positive affirmations really help too.
Have you ever seen that video? I see it on TikTok all the time, and it's like a mom and her baby, and it says something like, you know, you're talking to yourself in your head and being hard on yourself and saying, I got nothing done today. And then they show like the baby's point of view, and it's like, today was the best day. Like, mom and I went for a walk and she held me, and then I took a nap, and then we played together. Like, that's what I try to remind myself of, because I'm really hard on myself too. And I think, especially when they're little like this.
Yeah, like your kids don't care how much money you have, how much laundry you got done today. Like, they just want to be present with you.
Yeah, they just want a mom that wants to sit and play with them and show them attention.
Don't make me cry right now.
No, I know. I love that video because it's so true. It's so I'm really hard on myself too, and I think it's really easy to be hard on yourself, especially when you have to balance so much. Yeah. But I think just like trying to put ourselves in their point of view. Yeah. Like my older boys, like they don't care if I went and bought them new clothes, or if all the dishes are done, or they literally just want me to go outside and throw a ball with them. Yeah. Like they just want.
And you could still do all those things. Like let's say you give them the world, they're still going to be like, but you want to go throw the ball,
exactly.
Right? Like,
exactly.
Go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that is such a special way of looking at it, and I need to remind myself that,
Yeah.
because that like
It's
really does just ground you a little bit.
It
You're like,
does.
okay, you know what? This shit doesn't matter.
No.
Like you just you have to be present,
Yeah.
and I feel like that makes you feel better too,
Yeah, for sure.
along with giving yourself the space. You
Yeah.
know, like being present with your kids and like trying to balance all of it while being gentle with yourself, and just knowing that like right now it might be really hard, but like it's gonna get easier, and like one day they're not gonna be this little anymore, and like you're gonna miss it, you know.
I know. It
I
goes
can't
by
even
so
think about it. It's
no.
gonna make me cry.
I literally saw a video.
We end this podcast in tears.
I saw a video the other day that was like the majority of the time of like the real time that you're going to spend with your kids. I mean, think about their lifespan. I mean, you're raising them for 18 years and then you're like letting go. And I think about like my oldest is already 7. So what I have like 10 more like that flies by.
Yeah.
It really
and it makes you want to be way more present.
It does. Yeah.
As much as you can.
Yeah.
Obviously it's hard balancing everything, but
I want them to look. That's why I feel like I don't mind as much that I have been slowing down a little bit, like with work and everything, because I want them to look back on their childhood and be like, yes, mom was at every game. She was, at home throwing the ball with me, and we did things as a family. Like, I don't want them to look back and be like, oh, well, mom had work that day and mom did this and she couldn't make it to this. And that's like my priority is them knowing that I'm there.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah.
I honestly feel like I'm going to cry right now.
No, I know.
We can't end this podcast in tears.
No, it has to be a happy note.
But no, I think that it's a good mix of everything. Like you have to find the balance in everything. Yeah. Obviously, in motherhood, it's especially hard to find the balance in everything. But it's a hard. I think the first kid really just slaps you too, and you're like, okay, like what's going on? And then as it goes on and just time goes on, you kind of like start to learn more of these things, and you're like, all right, you know what, like this is how we balance life, this is like how we're gonna get through it, and you just kind of take it day by day, honestly.
Yeah, I still take it day. Yeah, you have to. It's a constant balancing act, but it's also, I think motherhood is the hardest thing I've ever done, but I've never felt like more. It is so rewarding.
It's so rewarding.
It's amazing, but it's truly the most difficult thing I've ever done. But I just think like if I hadn't had my kids yet, like I don't even know, they've just shaped me so much that I don't know.
Isn't that like, such a beautiful thing?
It's insane. They've taught me so. I think about like my first two specifically, like the child that made you a mom, and how much they've taught you, and I feel like I almost like grew up with him, not only because I was young, but just because I just learned so much just becoming a mom. Like,
well, it brings up all of like your childhood shit, most of the time. Like I feel like you learn a lot of your triggers, and you like you have to like work through a lot, and like you learn so much from your kids.
I think each one teaches you something different too.
They do. Yeah. So what do you feel like your kids have taught you?
I think Lane, our oldest, just taught me how to be a mom, how to have patience, he's also like he's like an old soul. And I think that he's just so sensitive and like he like truly cares about other people's feelings, and he's like very in touch with like his feelings. And I think that it showed me to be like a little bit more vulnerable too, and just obviously show me how to be a mom. I think our second is like a spitball. He's just crazy. He beats to his own drum, and I think he's just honestly taught me to. He just is always making me laugh. He's just himself.
Lean into your wild side. Yeah,
he's just himself. He does not care what anyone else thinks, which sometimes isn't the best, but he has just definitely taught me to just be yourself and to have patience with him. And our third has taught me to slow down. I think I never like truly slowed down until our third, because I had to. And I think it's just really made both my husband and I realize how fast it goes by, and I don't care what's in our bank account. I don't care how many shoots I can do a week. Like, it's really made us slow down and just like take in this time as
Yeah.
a family. That
I
last
love that.
baby. Just
I love the idea that like your kids teach you stuff.
Yeah.
And like they really do. I
Yeah.
think Sunny is definitely teaching me patience.
you think so?
I'm sure it's something else, but right now it's patience.
Yes. It could be called patience. Yeah.
But yeah, that is such a beautiful thing to think about, is just like just the fact that they're so small and like so innocent, but they really do like guide you and teach you, and it's just crazy that you can learn something from somebody so little,
So small.
Yeah.
That you made.
Yeah.
I know, but they do. And they don't even realize they're doing it, but they do.
I know. That is so cool. Well, I think we should wrap it up.
Okay. Yeah, I could stay here for.
I know. We got it.
We'll do another one, and I'll bring Poppy next time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Don't have a Poppy.
I won't.
Until
I won't have one.
Our next podcast
I won't
episode.
have
You
one.
swear?
Pinky promise.
Okay.
I won't do it.
Okay. Ooh, I'm excited. Yeah. So thank you for coming on. Thank you
Thanks
for
for
talking
having me.
everything like motherhood. Thank you so much for tuning in, you guys, and I can't wait to have our next heart to heart. Okay. Bye, guys.
Bye. I love the name of it. Where did you come up with? Did you just think of it?
I don't even know. I think I was like, I don't know how it came about. I think I was brain dumping a bunch of words and stuff, and I was like thinking about like having it be a space where like people can open up and just be like honest, and just like having it feel like a really nice community of people who can just like come together. And it made me think of like when you're sitting on the couch with your best friend, like you're having a heart to heart, like just like a deep conversation, you know.
I love it.